I'd like to share with you some thoughts of something that occurred to me last night as I was doing something I do fairly consistently, which is at the end of the day, I stop, kind of turn off everything by myself and do just a casual reflection of my day. Not even thinking of today, just a casual reflection of whatever pops into my mind and kind of catching up, cleaning up, clearing up the things that occurred to me during the day. You know, in the vein of the series of short little videos I did, the 2-minute tips for turbulent times, many people, even in the pandemic world, have now gotten onto somewhat level of cruise control, but we're still living in turbulent times. As a matter of fact, even if we're not in some sort of pandemic, exercise or crisis, we're all in turbulent times. Our days are turbulent. Our brains are engaged in turbulent things. How many things have you thought about today? Have you had to make decisions about that you have had to engage with today? The dogs, the kids, the partner, the business, the emails, the cooking, the cleanup, the whatever it is. And probably most people don't realize how complex our lives really are on a day-to-day basis, even in a, quote, ordinary kind of situation. And, our friend Dr. Copanelli says that if you're not having good rest time, good daydream time, good just spontaneous thinking time, then you're not accessing a very important part of your psyche, which is required to kind of pull all that stuff together. So if you're not getting enough sleep, if you're not taking naps as appropriately, or if you're not just taking breaks during the day to stop your consciously focused thinking, then you're actually going to sub-optimize your cognitive process. So as I last night was, doing that process, I realized, well, wait a minute. This is what's profound about this is if you take, I don't know how many minutes it takes. I don't know how many minutes I took, maybe 5-10 minutes. I kind of lost track of time. But as I relax and let my brain sort of go through all that, what it does is it gets closure and it cleans up kind of the day. It lets the dust settle. Because during the day, it'd be hard to say, well, feeding the dog was more important than taking a walk. That was more important than spending time with my kids. It was, come on, whatever you do, you decide in that moment is more important. But in a way, they're kind of all equal in terms of how our brain is focused on them on a minute-to-minute basis. At the end of the day, I discovered, for instance, last night, I just recognized what I do when it really works well for me is that it's a kind of a cleanup, and it's a way to essentially prioritize all of those things and put them in an appropriate context, appropriate relation to each other. So the things that, I still now have attention on that I need to process or need to work through or need to think about again, those things show up in a different way. And so it allows me to get some level of closure and some level of relaxation and some level of cleanup, if you will, that you can't do if you don't take time to just stop and turn the world off and, just let yourself go. It's both the external world that we're engaged in, but then the internal world that we live in about how we're engaged with our external world, that needs care and feeding. And for me, the care and feeding is at least nightly as best I can. I don't do it all the time. Sometimes I forget or neglect that. But when I do, it's always extremely valuable. That allows me to sort of tee up, have a probably better night's sleep, and certainly wake up in the morning with a more refreshed idea of priorities and how to spend my time. So this has been a 5-minute tips for turbulent times, but tips for the timeless turbulent times we all live in. So if you haven't taken time to do that lately, and tonight, after you listen to this or sometime, I would highly recommend you shut everything off, turn off your smartphone, turn off your TV, put the kids to bed, put the dogs to bed, maybe put your partner to bed, whatever, and at least get some alone time with yourself. You deserve it.